Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NFL Thoughts. So today, as you can clearly see by the title, we are doing our NFL Week 4 predictions review. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't think I did very good this week. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I did too well this week. We might have had a losing record this week, to be quite honest with you. However, at least I got the ones that I actually cared about correct. The Cowboys winning and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs winning. So, let's get to these week 4 picks to see exactly how bad did I really do. So, as y'all saw by my predictions from last time when we did our predictions on Wednesday, I picked the Bengals to beat the Dolphins, and they won 27-15, so I got that one right. I picked the Vikings to beat the Saints. They won 28-25. And I picked the Lions to beat the Seahawks. Now here's the thing. I had no issues with with the Lions offense. As you can see, I clearly had no problems with their offense. But their defense has been lacking a lot so far this year. If you want to get a little short summary on the Lions season so far, they're number 1 in offensive scoring and yardage gained. But their defense is last in points scoring and yardage allowed. They're the number 1 offense in the NFL, but yet they're 1-3 because their defense is just that bad. The last time, by the way, if you really want to backtrack and flash back to the last time we saw an NFL team lead the league in scoring and yards and miss the playoffs, it was 2008. The New Orleans Saints in 2008. They were number 1 in points scored, and they were number 1 in yards gained, and they missed the playoffs going 8-8 because their defense was pretty bad, but at the same time, they also lost a lot of close games because their defense didn't even give up 400 points that year, which is what the Lions are so far this year looking like they're on pace to doing. But nonetheless, that's what the Lions are looking like right now, the 2008 New Orleans Saints. Matter of fact, the 2008 New Orleans Saints, if I'm correct, they started the season 1-3 too. Nonetheless, I got that one wrong. Seahawks won in a high-scoring game, 48-45. And then I picked the Steelers to beat the Jets. I said that this would be a struggle for the Steelers to win. And they didn't. They struggled, but they also lost the game as well, 24-20. Yeah, I said that Mitch Trubisky, like at the beginning of the season, I said Mitch Trubisky's not that bad of a quarterback, but he definitely is that bad of a quarterback. And Kenny Pickett came in, and his first pass was an interception. First play coming into the game, everybody was cheering Kenny. But he goes out there and he throws a pick on his first play. Nonetheless, I got that one wrong. So after getting our first 2 right, we got our last two wrong so far. But things would get better because I picked the Giants to beat the Bears, and we got that one right. They beat the Bears 20-12, and the Titans beat the Colts 24-17. Like I said before in that predictions video, the Colts always look sorry in the first month or the first quarter of the season, and then they always seem to turn things around, really turn things around mid-season, and then they're back in the tournament again. They're back in the hunt. And that's what I'm predicting right now, is that the Colts, it's probably going to be rough for them for right now, but they might turn things around, eventually after this first part of the season. But the Titans won 24-17. And then, unfortunately, the Chargers beat the Texans. I predicted the Texans to win this one, and clearly I was wrong. So we are now 4-3 on our predictions. Make that 4-4 because we predicted the Browns to beat the Falcons. I said it would be a close one, but the Falcons won 23-20. Then we predicted the Cowboys to beat the Commanders, and they won 25-10. I talked about that Sunday morning. However, they won 25-10 after I predicted them to win 28-14. I just want one where I actually get the final score correct. And then Eagles versus Jaguars. I got that one correct as well, even though Jaguars were up 14-0 to start the game. But now we are 6-4. And then Bills versus Ravens. I predicted the Ravens to beat the Bills, and it was looking like I was real comfortable with that prediction when they were up 20-3, and then the Bills put up 20 straight points. 20 unanswered points, came back, and won the game 23-20. I have questions about John Harbaugh not just kicking the field goal, not just, going for the field goal, to have your team up by 3. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of, questionable decisions by coaches and whatever in a video later on this week. Cardinals versus Panthers. I got that one right. Cardinals beat the Panthers. So we are now, we are now 6-4, 6-5. We are now 7-5 on our predictions. And then we predicted the Raiders to beat the Broncos. We predicted, finally this time, the Raiders did get their first victory, and I predicted it right. The Raiders beat the Broncos 32-23. So then the Packers beat the Patriots. However, it was looking kind of dark, but Packers pulled ahead and pulled away in overtime 27-24. I got that one right. So we are now 9-5 on our predictions. And then the Chiefs did beat the Buccaneers. They beat them 41-31. I did say this would be a high-scoring game, so I got that right as well. However, I said the Rams would beat the 49ers, and I should have known better. For the most part, Kyle Shanahan owned Sean McVay. They got into being head coaches for their teams literally at the same time, 2017. And for the most part, Kyle Shanahan has owned Sean McVay for the most part. So I should have known better. But I look back at it, and I actually didn't do that bad. Matter of fact, we actually got 10 out of 16 games right, just like last week. And I thought that we did poorly, but we actually did pretty well. So for the most part, we started off a little bit of a roller coaster. You know, 4-4 through our first 8 predictions, and then we got 6 out of our last 8 correct. The only ones we got wrong were the Bills Ravens game and the Rams 49ers game last night. Now, before I end this video, I do want to talk about something. This year, the NFL is looking way different than usual. Because for the first time through week 4, I don't feel like there's a legitimate threat in the NFL right now. Like, you want to say the Buffalo Bills, then by all means, say the Buffalo Bills if you want to. But even the Buffalo Bills, they seem like they're starting to struggle a little bit. You saw how they lost to the Dolphins last week. However, I mean, the Dolphins do look like a pretty good team. And then they struggled, for the first half against Baltimore on Sunday. So yeah, while they're 3-1, I don't know. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, while they are 4-0, they don't look that dominant to me. They don't look like a team that I'm scared of. All right, I've said this on some live streams, on some people's live streams before. I'm not scared of y'all. I'm not scared of the Eagles by any means. Like, they're 4-0. They're the only unbeaten team left in the NFL. But I'm not scared of the Eagles. I look at it, and they barely beat the Detroit Lions. Y'all say, or at least one guy in that one dude, it's Dragon Squad, BITCH. Yeah. But yeah, saying that we barely beat the Bengals. Well, y'all barely beat the Lions. And are you really finna sit here right now and say that the Lions are better than the Bengals? Come on now. So yeah, they barely beat the Lions. Y'all got some good wins against the Vikings and Commanders, even though we beat the Commanders, pretty good too. At least we ran away with it in the end. And then y'all got yourselves into a 14-0 hold against Jacksonville, in Jacksonville on Sunday before you did, get your heads together and turn things around and won 29-21. But they don't look like they don't look like that feared team. Matter of fact, I don't think anybody is a team that you can really fear in the NFL right now. However, I will say, right now, I think the Kansas City Chiefs might be the best team in the league. And I say that with the fact that you look at the quality of their wins. They beat Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, which I still believe is a good team, a playoff team in my opinion. They beat Justin Herbert and the Chargers, who they had a minor setback against Jacksonville week 3, but Jacksonville all of a sudden is not looking like a very easy matchup as I expected. And then they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday night, who had the number 1 scoring defense heading in, and they put up 41 points on them. They just said, "Here, take this 41 points with you." So yeah, they're really looking like honestly the best team in the NFL right now. And as it's not very often that a team who has a loss on their resume, is actually looking like the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, over a team who is still undefeated. At the same time, I have to give Kansas City credit for what they're doing right now, with the fact they're doing it without Tyreek Hill. They're doing it without Tyreek Hill offensively, and they're doing it without Tyrann Mathieu defensively. And they've beaten some pretty good opponents so far this year. So, which is why I do believe they are the best team in the league right now. And I'm not going to be biased and say my own team, but would say that if you think about the level of difficulty, we probably have dealt with it a lot better than anybody else in the league. When you talk about the best team in terms of level of difficulty, we probably are the best in that regard. We don't have our starting quarterback, we don't have our starting left tackle, we don't have our starting safety, and we didn't have our starting left guard either before he came back. This past game against Washington, but yeah, we've been having some injury. We had some injuries to start the year, and yet we're 3-1 when everybody was writing us off. So you talk about level of difficulty. I'm not gonna lie, we've probably dealt with it better than anybody, because there's a lot of the teams that are good right now. We expected them to be good, and they really haven't had to deal with very much sorrow. But we've had to deal with all the sorrow, especially week one after that, loss to Tampa Bay. And yet we picked ourselves back up, and we've been able to deal with adversity better than anybody. So, yeah, the best team in the league right now, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. The best team in terms of dealing with adversity, I have the Dallas Cowboys. So that's been my time, and this is NFL Thoughts out. Like, subscribe, and we are out.